woke up with a heavy case of amnesia in the middle of nowhere. The only clue to my past is Harry's name and address inside this hat. So I made my way to the apartment, and that's when I found you and your stapler gun.
Stop talking! You're a hallucination!
You're a hallucination.
Pikachu with no memories.
Well, the Avengers may still be dominating the box office 3 weeks on, but there is one character hoping to take on Marvel's might this weekend. He's small, he's furry, yellow, and goes by the name Pikachu. And the sparky little guy has got a little extra star power from Canada's Ryan Reynolds. Pokémon Detective Pikachu is in theaters today. That's hard to say 5 times.
Love that
quickly.
title.
Eli Glasner is here to tell us all about it. How does it all start, Eli?
So we start in a world where Pokemon exist. So Pokemon are this menagerie of creatures, all sorts of species, flying hawks, ice penguins, turtles with giant tongues, and they all have all manner of abilities, and they can evolve. And some Pokemon are captured in little balls, and I don't know, I guess they do our bidding. Seems kind of cruel. But in Rhyme City, people and Pokemon are equal. And that is where we find Tim. Now, many years ago, Tim was a younger man, and he loved Pokemon. He thought of being a Pokemon trainer, and then he grew up. He was going to leave that life behind, but he's called back because his father, police officer, goes missing, maybe even murdered. And so there he is back in Rhyme City, and the chief breaking the news. Let's take a look.
Tim, your dad was a legend in this precinct. If you were anything like your dad...
I'm not.
I remember. You wanted to be a Pokemon trainer when you were young.
Yeah, that didn't really work out.
There you go, Ken Watanabe as the chief breaking the news. Just when Tim thought he was out of the Pokemon life, they drag him back in. So he has all these issues to contend with, goes to his father's place, looking at the stuff, and yes, that's where he sees it. Pikachu himself, the little yellow furry guy. Now, here's what's interesting. Pokemon, they're kind of like Groot. They only can speak with their name. So Pikachu would go, Pika, Pika, Pikachu, 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 like that. But, as you suggested, that's not what our Pikachu sounds like. He sounds like, well, a different kind of superhero, actually. You might know who I'm speaking of. Let's take a listen. The interesting thing is that Tim and Pikachu are connected. Take a look.
You can hear him, right?
Pika Pika! Yeah, Pika Pika Pika, he's adorable.
You're adorable. They can't understand me, kid.
Can no one else hear him? Come on. And what about a world-class...
So there you go, Vancouver's own Ryan Reynolds as the new voice of Pikachu. Now this kind of throws Tim for a loop, but eventually he kind of gets it together and they realize that him and Pikachu are connected because Pikachu was actually his father's partner, but Pikachu has Pika amnesia, can't remember what happened, so they need to join forces and solve this mystery because the dad might still be alive.
Okay, that's a lot to understand there, for sure. I saw an interview with Ryan Reynolds, and he had all kinds of little voice character ideas, and they said, no, just be Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
So how does this work in terms of the characters and those who play them?
Right, okay, so let's start. We'll get back to Ryan in a second. I did want to give some credit to Justice Smith, who plays Tim, because you're in this ridiculous world with all these ridiculous characters. I think the temptation would be to be very big, very broad, kind of over the top, too hammy. Justice Smith, he kind of dials it back. He's the grounded, he's our everyman, and if he has an ability, just being this nervous kind of guy reacting to what's around him. Now, what's he reacting to? Let's get back to Reynolds as Pikachu, because it is about that interesting contrast. You see the adorable furry face, the furry furrowed brow as Pikachu gets more and more scared and the eyes get bigger, and then he opens his mouth and it's like baby Deadpool before he learned to swear. And so it is an interesting switch to the previously adorable character, and I think what Reynolds is really doing, as Reynolds can, he is trying to push Pikachu pretty much as far as he can, while still this being a kid-friendly film. And I have a great example as they confront an underground Pokemon trainer. Take a look.
Wow. I'd like to see this guy's internet search history.
Who are you?
Let's see where this goes. Tell him you're my new partner.
I'm his new partner.
Well, that Pikachu Thunderbolt almost wrecked my prized Charizard. Last time he was here.
Oh.
Scar's still fresh.
All I hear are consonants, and all I see are nipples.
And you know what?
So, I mean, it's kind of what we expect from Reynolds. Now, he's great. Like, no one does that better. I have to think that's some kind of improv at points. It's very familiar, but I will say it's funny. So funny and familiar. I do worry about Reynolds kind of falling into a bit of a rut, but it is effective, to say the least.
And it's kind of what he's like, that sarcastic personality, persona that he has. I'm getting hints of Cool World here. I'm getting hints of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah, so how does this Detective Pikachu play out?
You know, it's interesting. I think it depends on what kind of fan of Pokemon you are and what you want. Like, what I was missing was actually the Pokemon battles. Like, you know, the classic kind of card game or video games where you play your Pikachu and then they respond with, like, a leaf monster and then you do the rock guy. I don't really know. It's been a long time. But I did miss that layer of combat. And instead of that, what we have is this pseudo-mystery with this fatherless boy stomping around Rhyme City. We got Pikachu with performance issues, so he's not really doing the zapping anymore. He doesn't even say Pika Pika anymore. He just makes jokes about his caffeine addiction and likes to re-explain the plot, I guess, for the 5-year-olds in the audience. So this is surprisingly the most realistic Pokemon movie ever made. It's like the Dark Knight of Pokemon films. Now, I'm not quite sure what we needed that for, so it could have been a little weirder. It could have been a little cuter. Instead, it's kind of in the middle, but really carried along by the charm of Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to give this 3 stars out of 5, but if you want a little extra cute, I have a bonus for you, because Reynolds played a little joke on YouTube. He put something online that looked like a full leak of the film. So it starts with the opening of Detective Pikachu, but then it transitions into, well, let's take a look. It's Pikachu doing jazzercise for an hour and a half. And this went right up to the top of the YouTube charts. It is undeniably adorable. So 3 out of 5 for the film. I don't know, 7 out of 5 for Pikachu Jazzercise, and we'll leave you with this adorable jazz. Look, he's got moves, man. He's got moves. There you go.
My head's going to explode. That's just so much to understand.
Sorry, not sorry.
Thanks, Eli. Deadpool Pikachu.